When it comes to people asking me what my favourite episodes from classic Thomas the Tank Engine is, I have many favourites. Thomas and the Special Letter from Series 4, Lady Hat's Birthday Party from Series 5, and All at Sea from Series 3. But then they wonder, what is my all-time favourite episode from classic Thomas? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over it, with that episode being Thomas, Percy and Nicole. Now, I hear some fans say that the first and second series of the show isn't really greatest compared to other seasons, like more beloved series like Series 5 and 20, or those series a lot of people love, but I'd say the first two series of Thomas have some good charm to them, and there is some pretty neat writing from these episodes too. In fact, the first series of Thomas I had ever watched when I was younger was Series 2, thanks to the DVD release of the complete second series released by Hit Entertainment and VCI in 2004. I remember repeatedly watching this episode on DVD as a kid, and I really enjoyed it from the nostalgia vibe of it. The episode was based on the story from the 30th Railway series book titled More About Thomas the Tank Engine, which was first published on the 22nd of September 1986. This episode was written by Christopher Awdry, who took over from his father Wilbur Awdry in 1983, continuing the Railway series books until 2011. The TV episode first broadcasted in the UK on the 24th of September on Children's ITV the same year. The episode starts with Thomas arriving up beside Percy and Toby, who then gets complimented by Percy calling him splendid, which leads into a conversation about their paint colours, with Thomas getting into offended mood because he thinks blue is the bestest colour for the engines. Later, Thomas is resting beside a coal hopper when Percy comes along to fill up the trucks with coal. Thomas becomes cheeky and the trucks push Percy right back, causing the coal from the hopper to go all over Thomas, getting him in a mess of dust, with Percy of course mocking him. Thomas is then in such a bad mess from the coal that he misses his next train, so Toby has to take over Thomas's next run. This slang causes heated drama in the sheds that night between Thomas and Percy, with Percy being annoyed that Thomas thinks he tried to make his paint dirty on purpose. The next morning, Percy is pushing some trucks which are very heavy, causing Percy to feel tired. His driver then suggests he takes a drink from the water column. As he approaches the water column, he can't stop, causing him to go through some buffers and fall into a ditch of coal, with this next scene ending up becoming an iconic Thomas meme. Then at night in the sheds again, Thomas and Percy both apologise with them agreeing to be careful with coal. A pretty funny and good episode between Thomas and Percy's friendship. I love how throughout the first scene in the shed, Toby is just finding the situation to be so hilarious with both of them, whilst both Thomas and Percy are just completely ticked off with one another. And also in the scene with Percy laughing, you can see the damage to the station master's house, which would later appear in Thomas Comes to Breakfast. I love Ringo Starr's narration through this episode. Whilst I will say I'm more of a Michael Angelis fan of narration, Ringo did a fairly good job at the second series, despite only doing it for 2 series, but he still manages to ace it nonetheless. I'd say this episode, along with Thomas, Percy and the Dragon from Series 3, really shows off well with Thomas and Percy's friendship. Sure, they can get into some arguments here and there, but they still both care about one another, which is what friends should be doing. I like the music as well. Michael Donnell and Junior Campbell are the gods of music, I'd say. I especially love the Toby theme, that's one of my favourites. Again, the first 2 series aren't the most favoured series, but I like Series 1 and 2. They have some nice and memorable episodes, and I was quite surprised I grew up watching Series 2 during my childhood, given the fact I was born around the same year as Series 9 and Colonel Engines. But I just love the vibe to Series 1 and 2. In my eyes, they're good series to put on here and there, and rewatching the episodes has given me a wave of nostalgia from when watching the complete Series 2 DVD during childhood. Now the question remains, would I recommend Thomas, Percy and Nicole? Personally, I think it's an enjoyable and alright episode. I wouldn't say it's action-packed or too exciting compared to the other episodes from the next few series onwards, but it's a decent one, and if you love the original Thomas, it's quite a good episode to watch in my personal eyes. And with that, that's been my brief, but very overall review of Thomas, Percy and Nicole. This has been made as a late 43rd anniversary special video towards Thomas. I am quite disappointed this is a short review, and I could have done a longer one to celebrate more, make it more interesting like a film or series, but nonetheless, happy 43rd anniversary to Thomas the Tank Engine and his friends. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.